Okay, so what is genetic algorithm? So it is a heuristic search optimization technique. A heuristic means self-learning through iterations. Okay, so it will be having number of iterations and it will self-learn on, and on every iteration it will update itself, which you may call it as reducing the error or moving near to the optimal solution, like that. So it's a heuristic optimization technique which mix the process of natural evolution. So this genetic algorithm is based on how natural evolution happened in the world. Okay, so it is a subset of larger branch of computation known as evolutionary computation. So there is a computation techniques which is present called as evolutionary computation techniques. So GA is one of the subset of those computations. So it is frequently used technique. Genetic algorithm is very frequently used technique to find the optimal or near optimal. So always we cannot say that the solution what we have got is the best. So we can say that we got a near optimal solution. Okay. So as I told, it is based on natural evolution and it is based on the theory of natural selection proposed by Darwin. So what did the Darwin's theory of natural selection say? It says that select the best and discard the rest. Or you can also, you might have heard survival of the fittest. That is the most commonly used word, Darwin's theory of natural selection. Survival of the fittest. Have you heard of that? Survival of the fittest?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what is the example you have heard for the survival of the fittest? That is a very common example they will give. Survival of the fittest example.
Human beings.
Human beings. Yes. Human beings. And what I have learnt is giraffe. See, this is only the taller one can reach the leaves, greener leaves. The rest all cannot reach and they won't get their food like that. Okay, so this is survival of fittest. So the genetic algorithm is based on this concept. Okay, so it was developed by John Holland along with his colleague and students at the University of Michigan, and along with John Holland, another noted professor, David Goldberg, also contributed for developing this genetic algorithm. So what happens in a genetic algorithm is we have a population, okay, a set of population and the possible solutions to the given problem. That also we have. And among these solutions, what we'll do is we will alter their genes. Okay, and then it is just like a natural genetics that happens. We will recombine the uh, solutions and then change the genes which will produce a new solution. And in genetic algorithm term it is called as the child or new children. Okay, so when we change the genes and we will do some recombination operation, the child is produced, which is nothing but solution for our system, and this is repeated until we get a best solution. So here, as I told, we have set of solutions. So there, in each value in the solution, it is assigned what is called as a fitness value. Okay, we will call it as a fitness value. Fitness value is nothing but when we do it in a mathematical a model, it is nothing but the value of the objective function. So we will find out some x value and put it in the function and find out f of x. So that is nothing but the fitness value. So we will find the fitness value, and based on this fitness value, we will choose which solution will go for the next round, next round. So it is not just one iteration or one round of computation, but it and genetic algorithm undergoes many iterations. So in each iteration, the solutions gets updated, and which solution will pass to the next stage is based on their fitness value. The fitter solution will move to the next stage. Okay, and we call them as parents. The solution which go to the next round are called as parents. And the after changing the genes and recombination, what we get, the new solution what we get, that is called as the child. Okay, in terms of genetic engineering. So yeah, this is called as the Darwinian's theory of survival of the fittest. And yeah, by repeating this process, we keep evolving better individuals, or that means we keep getting new solutions which are better than the previous generations. And how long do we repeat this until we reach a stopping criteria? So usually stopping criteria will be based on either number of iterations, or you will uh, give an error value. So an error value is given, which is nothing but the present solution minus the previous solution fitness value. And if until that error is minimized, we keep on repeating the process, or it is merely just based on number of iterations. So we give some number of iterations, say 50, 100, like that. And until that iteration elapses, the process is repeated. Okay, so what are the advantages of genetic algorithm? So it does not require any derivative information. So just like how we solved in the first session, we took the equation and we took derivative of we took the derivation and then we solved it, right? But in genetic algorithm, it does not require any such computations. It is faster and more efficient, and it is applicable for both continuous and discrete functions, and also multi-objective problems also can be solved using genetic algorithm. And it gives a list of good solutions, means it does not give only one particular solution, but it gives a list of solutions which can be chosen. Then it is useful when the search space is very large. That means when a variable takes a larger range of values, it is useful. Okay, so these are the advantages, but genetic algorithm also has some limitations. That is, they are not suited for all the problems. Which problem it is not suited? Which are simple. Where okay, if the function is very simple, genetic algorithms are not suited for such kind of functions. And the fitness value is calculated repeatedly. So because we are keeping them in many iterations, then some computationally it may be expensive. Computationally expensive means it may take more time for the number of iterations. Okay, and then as for some functions, they say that the solution which is obtained may not be optimal, may not be the best solution which is obtained. And if we do not choose the function which can be applicable for GA, it may not converge at all. Means it may go into infinite iterations, or error may not be reduced at all. Okay. So these are the limitations of genetic algorithms. So next, let us see how this works. Means what are the steps? It is shown as a flow diagram. So what we have is, first we have a population of individuals or feasible solutions. We'll just randomly take some solutions. Initially, we have to choose some random solutions. Okay, and then evaluate the fitness of these individuals. And then based on the fitness value, we will select the individuals for the next process. and then we will put them into a pool which are fitter individuals, then select the individuals and exchange the characteristics. So exchange the characteristic is done arbitrarily. Okay, and then we'll get next generation of individuals. Okay, and these next generation of individuals are considered as the present population, and then again the process is repeated. So this evaluation of the fitness and selecting the fitness, selecting the individuals, it is called as reproduction, differential reproduction. And then creating a pool for the fitter individuals and exchanging the characteristics is nothing but the heredity. And then changing the characteristic is called as the genetic variation. Okay, is called the genetic variation. Okay, so these are the steps that are involved in genetic algorithms. So what are the tasks that has to be performed? So the tasks are, first we have to generate an initial population that is done uh, that is done purely by generating some random values, and then we have to evaluate them by calculating the fitness value, and then the reproduction operation is selecting the fitter individuals and then exchange the characteristics to develop new individuals, that is called as crossover operation, and modifying the characteristics is called as the mutation operation. So these are the 5 basic tasks that has to be done in a genetic algorithm: generation of initial population, then evaluating the fitness, then selecting the fitter individuals, and then exchange, then crossover operation, mutation operation. So 5 tasks, basic tasks are involved in genetic algorithms. Yeah, this is how it will look like when you watch the first generation of your genetic algorithm. You just choose them randomly, that's all. Okay, so all this time I have been telling you population of solutions. So what does a population look like? The population will look like something like this. So this is the, if you can see here, this is called as one chromosome, and the so each row will be filled with numbers. Okay, so this entire chromosomes or values is called as a population. So population is nothing but a set of chromosomes, and this is one chromosome, and in each chromosome one bit is called as a gene. Okay, and that value is called as allele. Okay, so here if you see the chromosome or the population is represented as a binary value, 0 and 1 binary values only. So these populations can be can take any value. We have 3 popular representations: binary, real value, and integer representation. So what you are seeing in this picture is the binary representation, and this is a real valued representation. You are using a real value for representing a chromosome, and this is the another type of representation. Okay, depending on what application you are using, you can use the representation. And how do we select the reproduction operator? So yeah, so this is fully I'm explaining you in as a theory. You will you will understand it better when we take up an example. So what we do is, I'll just tell you, you will pick it up when we take an example and solve it manually. So here, what we will do is, we will select an individual and we will calculate the fitness, and then we'll calculate what is called as probability. So P as a probability means probability of a particular solution for going into the next iteration. that is called as the probability. It is proportional to the fitness value what we calculate, and whichever individual which has got the highest probability will go to the next table, that is we'll place it in the pool, and then we will continue choosing the individuals from the previous pool until the pool size is the same as that of the initial population, and then we'll choose the one with the highest fitness and put it for next reproduction table. Okay. So that is for reproduction. How do we select the reproduction operator? Next, I told you about crossover operator. Crossover operator is nothing but taking the characteristics of the parent. So what happens here? You can see there are two chromosomes. So this is one chromosome and this is another chromosome. These are called as parents. So parent 1, parent 2. So what happens after crossover is we will exchange the characteristics of the parents. So you can see the line over here. That means the numbers present after the line, that is on the right hand side of the line, are exchanged. So you can see here 1001 is retained, 1001, but last 3 bits are of the second parent, 111, 1001, 111. Okay, and similarly this first from the first parent, the last 3 numbers will come to the second child. So these are the parents and these are the children. Okay, so for the second child, we will take the first 4 bits from the parent 1, 1100, and the last 3 bits from the first parent, 101. Okay, so these are the parents, and after crossover we get 2 children. Okay, the children which have properties of both the parents. Okay, so this is called as crossover operation. Yeah, similarly, this is another example of crossover operation represented by a line. This red and blue lines are the 2 parents. Then if we do crossover operation at this junction, then we get 2 children with this the first red line, then go up, then again horizontal line, and then the blue line, because crossover operation is done at this junction. And similarly, for the second child, the another half, this red line, and then blue line. So 2 parents, red and blue, are the 2 parents. And then after crossover operation, children are produced which have properties of both the parents. You can see for the first child and the second child, both have the properties of both the parents, parent 1 and parent 2, like this. So this is called as the crossover operation. Okay, and then next, mutation. What happens in mutation is we change we flip one of the properties. So here assume that this is one child which is produced. After crossover operation, whatever number we get, that is called as a child. So this is the child which is produced. In this child, we flip one of the bit. That means this here in this example, this 4th bit is inverted. See, this was a child which was produced. Then this 4th bit was 1 earlier, and after mutation operation, it became 0. Okay, just change one of the characteristics of the child. So in case of this binary representation, we flip it. We make one of the bit as either 0. If it is 0, we make it as 1, or if it is 1, we can make it as 0. Okay, so this is mutation. Yeah, similarly, it is represented here. This is the child. See, at this point, the red line is here. We make it a high value. Suppose if we assume this as a low value, make it as a high value. See, make it as a high value, and then again it comes back low and then goes up. So this is called as mutation operation. Okay, so these are the important terminologies in when we apply genetic algorithms. Okay, so this example shows, so you can see two curves, two graphs with so many points over it. Okay, so this curve is nothing but the objective function. Okay, and then these points are the solutions what we get. Okay, solutions or the population we can call in terms of genetic algorithm. So what is the difference you observe between the two? Do you observe any difference between the two graphs? Yes, students.
Only points difference.
What?
Position of points, ma'am. Position
Points
of
are
points is changed.
points is changed. See here, yeah, what you told is correct. The points are lying somewhere here, but they are not lying anywhere near this maximum points, maxima point. But here, the points are moving towards the maximum region. Okay, that is the difference. So this is the distribution of individuals in generation 0. That means iteration 0. We will choose, I told you we will choose population randomly. So this is the random selection of population. And after we complete n generations or n iterations, this is the solution what we get. So these points are nothing but the individuals, or are nothing but the solutions what we get. You can see they are moving towards the optimal values. Okay, so this okay, so this is about the basics of genetic algorithm. Do you have any questions so far? Next, we will take up a function and solve it in MATLAB. First, we will solve it manually, and then we will solve it in MATLAB. Do you have any questions? If not, we will move forward. So now you have to take your pen, paper, and calculator. If people are ready,
Yes, students, are you ready with your rough work or
Yes,
not?
ma'am.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah. Please go through the functions and also the steps what madam is saying.
take a very so you can move ahead only when you understand the steps involved. Okay, so let us take a function f of x is equal to x square. Okay, very simple function, and it is subjected to only one constraint, and the constraint is that x should vary between 0 and 31 only. So this is the range of the variable x. This is our objective function f of x, which is given as x square, and x takes range from x ranges from 0 to 31. Okay, next we have to select what is the size of the initial population. Randomly, I have taken it to be 4. Let the initial population size be 4. Okay, so there are 10 steps involved. Okay, when we solve it, when we do it either by hand calculations or with the MATLAB calculations, 10 steps are involved, which you have to remember. So step 1 is, first you have to code the decision variable x into a string, and the string is of finite length. How do we code it? So let us say we are using a binary representation. So let us assign 0 as, let us represent the x with a 5-bit unsigned integer. Okay, binary representation. So therefore, 0 is represented with 5 zeros, and the last number 31 is represented with 5 ones. Okay, so this is nothing but, how do you represent this? 2 power 0 into 2 power 0. Yeah, let me take 31. 1 into 2 power 0, 1 into 2 power 1, 1 into 2 power 2, 1 into 2 power 3, 1 into 2 power 4, and add them all. You will get 31. Okay, so that is the representation what we are using here. Okay, this is the step 1. And once you are in step 1, you have to create a table. So this is called as the initial population table. So I have selected initial population randomly. So this is the random selection of initial population. So since I have assumed the population set of populations as 4 in number, I've taken 4 solutions randomly. Okay, and then next step is to decode X value. Okay, how do we decode X value? Just how I told you. So 0, 1, 1, 0 is the first population. So 0, this 0 into 2 power 0, 0 into 2 power 1, plus 1 into 2 power 2, plus 1 into 2 power 3, plus 0 into 2 power 4. So if we solve this, we will get 12. So 12 is the X value. Okay, and then calculate the fitness value. Fitness value is nothing but substitute the variable X into the objective function. So our objective function is X square. So X value is 12. So fitness value is X square. Okay, so like this, can you do it for rest 3? All of you
Yes,
should do
ma'am.
it for rest 3.
Yes, ma'am.
Do it and tell me.
Okay. 25 seconds.
Okay, then third one.
5.
Okay. Fourth one.
19,361.
Okay. So I have yeah, right. Fill the X value and the fitness value in this table. Okay. And then in the next column, we have to calculate the probability. Probability that this X value will go into the next means is fit for reproducing. So that is called as the probability. Okay, so how do we calculate probability? That is step 4. Okay, compute the probability of selection. That means whether this X will be selected or not. What are the chances of selection? Okay, what percentage of selection, what percentage of chances is there for it to be selected? So this is a formula for computing the probability. So probability is given as f of x divided by sum of f of x. So that means you would have calculated this fitness value f of x. You have to first add it sum. Okay, 1155 is the value you will get. So for each of these solutions probability, you have to calculate 12 divided by 1155. Okay, and then sorry 144 divided by 1155, 625 divided by 1155, 25 divided by 1155, and 361 divided by 1155. You have to do that. Okay, compute and fill that column. Compute probability for each of the solution and fill the column for probability.
Zero 0.5411.
Okay. Right. Third one.
0.0216.
0.021.
Right.
0216.
Okay. Fourth one.
0.3125.
3125. Right. Then you convert it into percentage. So you know how to convert it into percentage, right? 0.1247 into 100 will give you the percentage probability. Just convert them into
12.47.
percentage. Yeah, 12.4,
54.2.
54. Yeah.
2.16.
Right.
31.25.
Right. Correct. Then, okay, after we finish this probability, then we calculate what is called as expected count. So this expected count will give us how many times the solution can be selected as a parent. Okay, so that is step 5 to calculate the expected count, and there is a formula for calculating the expected count, that is f of x is equal to f of x expected count is equal to f of x divided by average value of f of x. So here you would have calculated the sum. So find out the average, divide by 4. So this is the formula for calculating the average. Sum of f of x divided by n. N is equal to 4 here.
288.75.
288.75 is the average value. Then for each of the solution, you have to calculate the expected count. So expected count is each fitness value divided by average value. That is 144 divided by 288.75. 625 divided by 288.75, like that. Calculate the expected count. Complete the table, complete that column.
2.16.
Yeah, correct, 2.16. Next, third row.
0.086.
Okay, right.
$1.25.
Right, correct. Okay, then after we do this, okay, we will get a complete table like this. Yeah, this expected count after you calculate, what you do is you round it off to the nearest integer. So we will get the actual count. So 0.49 is considered as like rounded off to 0.5 and again 0.5 to 1. Okay, and then 2.16 as 2, 0.08 as 0, and 1.25 as 1. So that is the actual count. So actual count will tell us how many times this particular solution can be used as a parent. That means this first solution is 01100. Its actual count is 1. That means this 01100 can be used as a parent only one time. And, okay, and then 11001 got an actual count of 2. That means this 11001 can be used as a parent 2 times. Okay, and the third population is not at all fit. It has got a 0 account. So that means it is not fit for next generation. So it is discarded. The third solution, the third value is discarded. And the fourth value, 10011, got an actual count of 1. So it can be used as a parent for one time. Okay, so how did we arrive at this actual count? It was based on fitness value. So fitter the individual, more chances of getting selected as a parent. So among these, if you see, 625 is the highest fitness value. That means the second second solution is the more fit value for reproduction. So that is why it is actually verified through its actual count also. It got an actual count of 2. That means it has 2 chances for going into the next table, like that. And the least value was 25. So which we also got an actual count of 0. That means it is not at all fit for reproduction, like this. Okay, so through this table, we will select parents for next table where we will get children. Okay, and here to verify this, when you add the probability, you should get a value of 1. That means your calculations are going in a right way, right path. And similarly, percentage probability, you should get it as 100%. And expected count always should be 4. And when you convert it into actual count also, you should get 4. Why 4? Because the number of population what we have taken is 4. Okay, so if we have taken population size as 4, that means the number of parents going to the next round for reproduction should also be 4 in number. Okay, so keep that in mind for verification. Okay, and then next is, yeah, how did we get this actual count? This is actually done by so many methods, which the methods which I'm not going to tell you because you may get confused. So the most popular one is called as the roulette wheel selection. It looks like this. Okay, actually we should have done like this, but based on a very vague theory, I just told you to round it off to the nearest integer value. So how do we do this roulette wheel selection is, we got percentage probability here, right? So this percentage probability is mapped onto a circle, onto a wheel. So this is the roulette wheel, which is nothing but a circle. Okay, and then you map this each numbers onto the wheel. See, 54.11%, it's somewhat, it occupies like little more than half the wheel. And next comes the fourth one, 31.26%. It occupies like slightly about slightly great less than this first one, and then the remaining. So you assign them in such a way that the complete wheel is enclosed, or complete wheel is covered. So then in this roulette wheel selection, what we do is we place a fixed mark, and then we will rotate the wheel just like that spinning wheel, where for rewards and all you will see, no, you will spin the wheel, and wherever it stops, that value you will get, that reward you will get. So similarly, you have to rotate this wheel, and when you rotate this wheel, what are the chances of what are the chances for this particular individuals to stop in the marked position? That is what is called as the roulette wheel selection. So that we did here approximately by making it as 1, 2, 0 and 1. Okay, that means this 54.11% has a higher chance of getting selected, and 31.26 as slightly lesser than this, and 12.47 is slightly lesser than 31, like this, like that. So this is called as roulette wheel selection that we did here very vaguely, very crudely. Okay. Okay, and then next step 7. Step 7 is what? Crossover. Crossover is like we have to next create the children. So again make one more table. Okay, you make a table like this. Okay, and then here we will take the parents. Which parents? The fitter parents. Which are the fitter parents we got? We got 01100. Okay, that will be the first parent, 01100, and the second parent is this one, 11001.
11001.
Yeah, but it has got two chances, right? So 11001 got two chances. So we write it two times. 11001 two times because it has two chances. It has got two chances. And the last and the another one which we got was 10011. That also has got only one chance. So totally we should get four population size. Okay, four parents we should get, and we got four parents from the previous population table. Okay, so to perform the crossover operation, we have to select some point which is called as the crossover point, which is selected randomly. Okay, so the example which I had shown you earlier when I was telling you about the theory, that was crossover operation. That was called as 3-point crossover operation. So if you remember, I had exchanged how many bits? 3 bits. Yeah, here. See, this is a crossover point here. And after the crossover point, 3 bits were exchanged between the two parents. So this is called as 3-point crossover. Okay. So, but in this example, let us take only 2-point crossover. Sorry, 1-point crossover. Let us do only 1-point crossover, and the crossover point is 4th bit. So starting with 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4th bit only is selected for crossover. So this is the crossover point, and for the first set of parents. Okay, and for the second set of parents, the crossover point is 3. Third point, 0, 1, 2, 3. Third point is the crossover point, which I have marked it in red also. Okay, so we have to exchange the properties of these two parents to create new children or new solutions. Okay, can you try doing the crossover? Try doing the crossover. The red marked values are exchanged. Try completing the 1, 2, 3, fourth column, offspring after crossover. Yeah, children, child or offspring, all are same names. New solutions, all are same names, same terms used. So what is the offspring you get? Try completing that column. Complete it and then find the x value, decode it. That is 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, like that. Decode and also find the fitness value. You have to complete this entire table, table number 2, which is the crossover table. Quickly.
Thirteen, ma'am. 13, 24, 27, 17.
Okay. Fitness value also you calculated. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is the table you get after crossover operation. So new offsprings or new children what we got or new solution what you got have the values of 13, 24, 27 and 17. Okay, so what is the next step? Next step is mute. Okay, you have done all this. After crossover of operation, new offsprings are produced and X values are decoded and fitness is calculated, right? Then next step is called as the mutation operation. Okay, so mutation operation is nothing but exchanging some of the properties. Okay, so here you can see this. These are the offsprings we got after crossover operation. And then mutation, what we will do is one of the bit of offspring, we will flip it. That means flip means if it is 0, make it as 1. If it is 1, make it as 0. Okay. And here we are not choosing all the solutions or all the offsprings for mutation, but instead it is just a random decision. There's no compulsion. Okay. You can choose all the 4 offsprings to undergo mutation, or you can choose 1 or 2 or 3. It is up to you to choose. So I have chosen 2 offsprings for mutation operation, the first and the last. And among these 2, the bits which have to be flipped are the 0th bit in the first offspring, and in the last offspring the second bit, 0, 1, 2, the second bit. Okay, so after mutation, what will happen? This is our offspring after mutation. This first bit is flipped 1 and rest are same 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1. And second and third offspring are not changed at all. They are left as it is. And then the fourth solution or the fourth offspring, the center bit is flipped. So now it will become 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Okay. So these are the offsprings after mutation. Okay. Then we will decode it to a X value. So these 2 will remain the same. This you will get it as 29 and this you will get it as 21. Okay, and then the fitness value is evaluated. And once we evaluate this fitness value, then what is the next step? Again, we have to choose parents for the next iteration. So now we have completed only one generation. That means one iteration is completed for a genetic algorithm. Okay. Once we do mutation, we have completed one iteration of the algorithm. But you can see that this is not the optimum solution, isn't it? What is the optimum solution for the given objective function? Can anyone tell me? The objective function was f of x is equal to x square and x ranges from 0 to 31 and the function is a maximization function. So what is the optimum solution? What should be the optimum solution?
29.
No, that you got it in the table. But just by
Oh,
looking into the question, you should be telling me. Maximize
31.
31, right? Because x can take a maximum value of 31. And when you want to do a maximization function, maximization problem, for f of x is equal to x square. So when x takes the maximum value, then only f of x is maximum. And the maximum value x can take is 31. So 31 square is the optimum value, optimal value. Okay, that we got to know because the function was simple and the variable took a very, that range was also simple. Okay, but that will not be the case for other real world problems. Okay, okay, so we know that 31 is the best value for getting the maximum value of f of x. But did we get 31 here after we finished first iteration? No, we have not
No.
got. What is the value we have got? We have got the value of 29 only. 29 is the maximum value what we have got, or 29 is the best value we have got after first iteration. Because we have done only one iteration, we have not yet obtained the best solution. So that is why I mentioned you earlier, to obtain a best solution, the algorithm has to be repeated many times. That means you have to make it undergo many iterations for or to obtain a best solution. Okay. So since by hand calculation we cannot do many such iterations, so we will move into we will make use of software platforms for such things. Okay. Okay. So do you have any questions? So
No,
yeah,
ma'am.
and one, you should not end up like this. Just on a lighter note. Okay, you will implement algorithm and all solutions are wrong. If you don't have any questions, we will move to MATLAB. So all of you have MATLAB in your laptop or computer. Yes. Are you going to type in or key in the commands along with me? You can actually download a mobile version also. Do you know that? Did you know?
Yes, ma'am. But
You have-
we can't enter program.
No, you can enter program. You cannot enter Simulink. Only Simulink is not accessible in mobile app. Coding is accessible. Many of our students are doing with mobile app.
Do anyone have laptop in your desktop or laptop? Please respond, man. Whether you are using that or not.
No, sir.